Today we'll be looking at my neglected 2001 Toyota Avalon. Now today we'll be asking you the question, if your car breaks down, is it worth buying a $1,000 car until things get better? I'm going to tell you, yes, if it's a Toyota. I bought this car after my ex-taxi failed on me. I had a 2007 Falcon Futera with about just over 300,000 Ks on it. It was dual fuel. It was a great little car. I drove it completely into the ground. I got it with a couple of mechanical issues, ignored them until they exacerbated. Now, the thing about these cars is they're not going to be pretty. I paid $990 for this car. No warranty from a dealership. The interior, is very modest. There's no great finishings or anything like that. I've got the second from the base. So let me just check the trim level again. In this car, you'll be looking at about 9.2 litres combined. So you're probably looking at about 11 city and about 8.5. So I've got the advantage. So I'm pretty sure this is a dealership like marketing ploy. It's actually the CX or the CXI. So I think it's like it'll either be the second lowest or possibly even the lowest with a couple of bits chucked in from the Australian dealerships. You get power steering, power windows, power antenna, alloys. You get a nice little 3-litre motor with a 4-speed automatic in it. But if we have a look around the car, you can see why it was $1,000. These can go for about $3,000. Very rarely do I think anybody ever gets $3,000 that they're advertising for it. But as you can see, it is nothing to look at. At night, this car does a great job of blending in. But during the day, you do feel that $1,000, I need to sort out my life while driving it. You know, not even a tow ball on it. So yeah, we're going to have another look at the inside and we're going to have a look at the engine. So like I said before, 3-litre V6, 200 horses under the hood. Well, 194 to be honest. It's probably lost a few of those over the years. So if you're picking this thing up for $1,000, I would suggest it's be more like 180. These cars did come with gas struts to hold up the bonnet. Now, being from 2001 and the not looked after one, generally they're going to fall down on you. You can see him. Oh, here we go. He's coming down. There we go. It looks like I've got a little bit of an oil leak there, but I've never actually had to top up the oil. So this is fresh news to me. I've not checked this since I bought the car about 6 months ago. I think I made sure it was topped up, so it looks like it's lost a small amount of oil. Now we go and find my old man rag, which in this case is going to be my shoe. We come through, that's actually pretty consistent. So it's obviously leaking oil, just looking at the engine. You can see that. You don't have to be an engineer to work that out. But it's not a huge amount. I've had to check in new coolant every couple of weeks into this overflow tank. But I've never had it overheat on me. I've never had any issues with this car, not one issue at all. I've had to change 2 tyres on it in 6 months, but that's not the manufacturer's fault. That's just old dealership tyres. You can see these chalky son of a bitches that they chuck on there. The dealership's probably got second-hand from somewhere, just to make sure that there's street legal tyres on it. But you know, you can see in the wear of the tyre, like all these cracks from aging. This one's actually illegal. This needs to be replaced ASAP. Whether or not that gets done before I sell it, or if I advertise it for a price that is minus this tyre, is another issue. But considering that this one's brand new, probably not. Yeah, so you do get ABS in this car, which is great. You get 2 airbags. So let's have a look on the inside. Now, I was lucky enough to get the factory head unit in this car. Most likely, a lot of cars under $1,000, they've changed this out, which can be a blessing and a curse. Depends who's hooked it up and what era it was. Because unfortunately, it was the Sex Pex era. It might have a nice new CD player in there, but no aux. Or it might be aux and twist and taped. The aircon in this car is very powerful. You feel, really stretched out in this car. Like, I don't know how to explain these chairs. Like, they look ugly, and they are ugly, and as you can see, I usually like to keep this car pretty clean, despite the fact it's very cheap. I feel like, there's a little bit of dirt there at the moment, but, these stains, I've actually washed this before with car wash, and then tried to vacuum it out with a wet and dry vac, which is kind of like my cheap version of one of those machines you'd rent from a store, from a department store, or something like that. I'm not going to go for a quick lap because I don't have a phone holder. But yeah, and what you get in this car that you won't find in Australian manufactured cars is that you'll find that a lot of your interior stuff is still together. I've had Falcons that are a lot newer than this, and they've had broken headliners, buttons fall off. I've even got a Hyundai where the top of the handbrake is starting to peel away, the silver bit. In fact, I think it's just peeled away and we've just given up on it completely. There's just a lot more care taken in these Japanese cars than there is in their Australian counterparts. It's also a hell of a lot cheaper on petrol, even though it's still a V6 3 litre. It's a little bit slower than a Falcon, I would say, but it is a whole litre smaller, and it just seems to go further. If you look at the combined, it's actually not that much lower. Like, you're probably looking at about 11 combined, but in the Falcons that I've owned for cheap, you're looking at about 13, 14 per 100, whereas this you're more looking at 11 on a bad day. And it seems the tank it costs about the same to fill up, but it goes a hell of a lot further. The aircon in this works great. Everything works well. There are a couple of things that are broken, like this is broken. There's no clip here, but for $1,000, it's actually not even $1,000. It's $990 because I didn't have the correct change when I rocked up. And he let me off. A couple of other little bonuses. You get a clock. You get powered and not only powered windows but powered mirrors. Full powered windows, by the way. None of this, Falcon Commodore power in the front, windies in the back. You get a decent amount of speakers. Like, you get your tweaker speakers as well as your main speakers, and they're all in very good positions to change. You can guess how to take all these off. You wouldn't need a tutorial. So I think, if I was to have my time again, I would definitely buy this car again. It's most likely to be sold. I'm offering it for free to a couple of family members and seeing if they want it. If they don't want it, then that's fair enough. But it will be going on Gumtree for about $1,300. A very cheeky marketing ploy for me. I want $1,000 for it, but everyone always offers you $300 underneath anyway. Registered, all that sort of thing running, so I think I'll get $1,000 for it any day of the week. Anyway, if I was to rate this product, give it a 9 out of 10. You can't really go past a $1,000 Toyota if you can find one locally when you're going to buy a car. Luckily in Australia we don't have to worry about things like snow damage. We do get rust, but it takes a hell of a lot longer to function, and for it to hurt your car in a way where it would annoy you when you buy it for $1,000 would be very unlikely. You know what I mean? Like, there's probably rust on the son of a bitch if I look under it, but it sounds quiet to me when I start it. It sounds quiet to me when I drive it. The brakes need to be replaced, but that's just general wear and tear. That's not the manufacturer's fault. Again, and I guarantee that they're not Toyota brake pads on there. They'd be, Repco if I'm lucky. If not, probably eBay special. So yeah, I definitely go ahead and buy yourself a $1,000 Toyota Avalon.